Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Friday Debrief.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Jeanine. Happy Friday, Linda.
Hi, thank you. Happy Friday.
So, Linda, thank you so much for joining us on a Friday afternoon. We just wanted to pick your brain a little bit because you have been out on maternity leave, and when you came back, it was everything AI all the time, right? So,
there was no adjusting. It was right away.
That's right. Jump right in.
We dive right in.
Exactly, as we like to do for sure. So I just wanted to actually get your perspective because, when you went out on maternity leave, we weren't doing any AI in the classroom at all. I don't think anyone said a word about ChatGPT or Brisk or, any of the other programs, Magic Schools. That wasn't even on our radar. And then when you come back, now everyone is using Diffit, Magic Schools, all of that. So I'm just curious what the adjustment was like for you and, your opinion on it, because you would have a very clear perspective, knowing exactly how it was when you left and then seeing it in full swing when you came back.
Yeah. So, the only time that we really talked about AI prior to me leaving was if you were using it in your own personal life, but it didn't seem like it was something that we would use in the classroom. But yeah, after being here for 4 days in the beginning of the year and then coming back five months later, and it was in full swing, and it was just this amazing tool that made, I think, my transition back into the classroom that much easier. It's obviously really nerve-wracking to miss the first 5 months of school, and you miss all of the getting to know the students kind of in the beginning stages of the grade and getting to know what kind of writers they are and what kind of readers they are and just all around students. So I was definitely nervous coming back into the classroom, and it was like my first day of school, but their 100th day of school.
Yeah.
But with the availability of AI, I think it kind of sped up the process of me getting to know my students academically. And it also let me spend more time getting to know them on a personal level because I was spending less time having to trudge through all of their work and meticulously read it from September to February. Putting it through AI, I was able to pinpoint their strengths, their weaknesses, and then goals for themselves that I didn't have to spend copious amounts of hours doing that. And
Right.
it allowed me to, spend, I think, more meaningful time looking at their writing by being able to have AI give me an output of what are their strengths so that when I'm looking at their writing, that's highlighted to me already. And what are their weaknesses so that I can really look at their writing for those weaknesses and then think about how can I help them to grow.
Sure. So I'm just curious, which you're using the writing feedback generator. Are you using any other forms of AI when you're working with the kids? I'm kind of trying to figure out where the entry point was for you.
So Robyn showed me how to use the Magic School's writing feedback. So being able to put in the rubric and then their writing and get that output. And then she showed me how to take that information and then put it into ChatGPT and ask for those small groups or partnerships, which has saved so much time just being able to, put in that on Magic Schools, get the output, and then put it back into ChatGPT and have them group them into multiple ways of, small group or partnerships. It has just been, like I said, a time saver the most, and really just helped me to get to know the kids so much quicker, taking that out, like the sitting with their papers around me for copious hours, but having ChatGPT being able to make them into their groups and me not having to lay it all out across tables and group these ones together and then second guess because I'm like, wait, is that really a goal for them? But being able to see that has been amazing. So really Magic Schools and ChatGPT have been lifesavers.
And Linda, if I could just interrupt, I know like me and Linda are third grade partners, if for those of you who are watching, and it was just about last year at this time that we were sitting in my room, I can remember it, with Post-it notes. And all of the 64 students on each Post-it note with their strengths and weaknesses, and putting them in literally groups on desks using that strategy. And, it's just amazing a year later, how much more targeted that instruction was.
Yeah, I just remember the difficulty of standing in your room with the different kids and being, oh, well, they need to work on this. So like, do I put them in this group or do I put them with that group? And I don't think they'll work well with that student. And will they work together well in this group? And that's an amazing thing about AI in general is it takes that bias out where you think that those kids aren't going to work well together because of their personalities, but it winds up being the most like amazing work that they do together. Because AI doesn't know them on that personal level. They just know them from their academics of whatever data we put in.
And when you came back, Linda, you were literally back for what, like 2.5 weeks? And then we like did a strategy lesson together.
Yeah, I think
nothing like diving right back in after maternity.
Yeah, I think I was back for one day and we had a group meeting, a grade level meeting to do strategy groups across grade level. And then I think it was 2 weeks where you were like, I put in all this data for you. So we're going to all of this. Now we're going to do this. And I was like, oh, okay. Right. But it was easy to transition into it because it is kind of easy to learn. At first, I was a little hesitant. I felt like it was just something else that I needed to learn how to do. And like, if I'm going to spend all this time trying to learn it, I might as well just spend that time looking at my students' work. But once you get to know it, even at the most basic level, it's so simple. And then as you work with it, you uncover all these new things that are so amazing.
Yeah. And we've actually been looking across our students' work for 2 years now, like intensively. I mean, we've always looked at student work, but last year when we started by hand looking across the entire grade level, you know, we fully understand the process of what it takes to read every kid's paper, make the groups, strengths and weaknesses, and then to be able to have ChatGPT do it in a split second and do it maybe a little better than we were doing it is pretty amazing, right? So yeah,
if we were to compare the students, I think to where they are now and like the students last year made so much growth, but I feel like there's even more growth this year just because of the targeted small group lessons that we were making good ones, but were we making the best ones? I'm not really sure, but having AI being able to help you and asking that to, you know, formulate those groups and have meaningful reasons behind it, it really has, I think, excelled the students to learn more.
I agree with you. And I also feel, and we've been saying this in the last couple of episodes as well, you know, I really feel like it you know, really personalizes that learning really well. Mm-hmm. You know, we look at our students' works and we score them and we grade them, but you know, to have that second set of eyes in the classroom with us, you know, I really feel like it gets it right a lot of the time. And I know when we did our group together and we ran the data and then we put them in partnerships, now that was working across classrooms, across, you know, across the grade.
Yeah, and 4 different classrooms.
Yeah, and I feel like it really got those partnerships and those small targeted groups really great. So that kind of left us time then to differentiate even more and hone in on those skills even more so, because we didn't have to worry about taking the Post-its and putting them on the desks.
Right. What do you think would be the next logical best step for us in this process? Like, I feel like we've gotten a system down for looking at their writing work, and I don't know if there's application to other subject areas. I've been thinking a little bit about the connection to, I know you've dabbled a little bit in math, right? The math problems where they have to explain their thinking, but what about reading? I'm wondering if there's another application there. I don't know.
We definitely work a lot with comprehension and different skills from ChatGPT after looking at their writing. You know, we do, I mean, I have done in the past, put in, you know, some prompts about, you know, looking at the prompt that they had to answer and then, you know, how can I build up their comprehension of what really is needed from the story. Mm-hmm. You know, so just even based on their writing data, I feel like you can do a whole bunch with comprehension as well. And Linda and I were also talking about a little bit about, so this might be next Friday's episode. You never know. We wanted to also try to incorporate some of these AI techniques across our grade level in math next week.
Yeah, so we were talking about having the students do kind of like a writing to explain prompt in math, and then
Oh,
being able to use a rubric that Robin had created aligned with the New Jersey standards, and
mhm.
inputting that with a scan of their work, and then having an output of what are the things in math that they need to work on, which is really great. Which I also have to say I've seen a just the cross curricular connection with the kids of strengthening their writing because of these strategy groups is strengthening their explaining in math too. So it's crazy to see that. And I'm excited to see how much more we can get out of that if what the data is that we're putting into AI is math and
Yeah.
not just the writing.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And I would love to start to work on that because I think there will be some really strong connections there. And also, you had mentioned using the rubric. We can differentiate the rubrics as well. We can use AI to help us, figure out where the student's level is and then say, okay, let's create a rubric for this particular child because we know we have, especially in math, we have a wide range. There are some students who are really just not ready, perhaps, for the assignments that we're giving them. So we could customize the rubrics as well as the assignment. So, yeah, good stuff.
And I feel like our goal is to support each of our students. And I feel like this year, and maybe Linda, if you agree, I know you were touching on this a little bit before. I feel like the level of personalized instruction is really, really supportive this year.
Mm-hmm.
With running their data, looking at their data, really zoning in on what supports that they need. I feel like this year with Magic Schools and ChatGPT specifically, I feel like, I'm personalizing much more than in other years of teaching.
Yeah,
That's
it's definitely helpful too with getting that personalized instruction, but also being able to get differentiated assignments for them.
mhm.
Jeanine, you were saying about the comprehension, like you can put in and ask for a prompt, a text, and then ask for part A, part B questions.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
that I think is a really difficult task for students is not just to answer the comprehension question, but find the text that made them know that answer. But
Mhm.
some kids are ready for more challenging questions, while other ones are more at a little bit more like basic level comprehension. So you can get that output from like ChatGPT and ask for 3 or 4 levels of the same task but differentiated for students in your classroom. And then that saves you so much time as a teacher
Mhm.
to, do a whole bunch of other things or even get to know the kids more on a personal level and spend more time getting to know them and not as much time, in the nitty gritty details of the instruction.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, it's all exciting stuff. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to go on to the next thing, but I also want to make sure that we're not drinking from a fire hose, right? That we don't get completely overwhelmed with all of these different AI tools and strategies. But I do think there's so much potential for them. So I just love to see that everyone is embracing them and we're teaching each other what we learn, and it's really making a difference for the kids. Yeah.
And Linda's our first guest star on here because of the
Yes.
fact, right, that
Yes.
she was out for a few months,
Yep.
left here, would not do implementing AI into her curriculum, and now has come back and like dove right in and is really finding a lot of
Yes.
benefits with AI. So the possibilities are endless, even for people that are beginners at this. I mean, just give it a shot, and it's really, as a teacher, it's really super, super helpful, and it'll really make your job much more meaningful, for your students as well.
So, Linda, just I'm curious, what was the compelling hook for you? Like, not everyone is going to say, "Oh, yes, you know what? Let me jump in with 2 feet." So, was there a moment when you were like, "Okay, yeah, I'm sold on this"?
Well, I already have a huge interest in technology in general. I have my master's in educational technology. I like, looking at the ways that we can use technology to benefit the students versus it just being, another computer screen or anything like that.
Hmm.
But I think with, adjusting to a new schedule of my own life and as well as managing a small child's life, I was looking for, I don't want to say shortcuts, but, ways to make my time use it in the most meaningful ways and not waste that time. So once I kind of sat and thought about how by using this and taking the time to learn it, it's going to save me so much time in the long run. That was kind of like a no-brainer to me. Why not use this? I mean, eventually I'm sure I can come up with some of these great ideas, and with talking to grade level partners and across the building and getting resources, but we don't always have that time. So being able to, have my little assistant on my computer to go to and ask for feedback and ask for help, that was, to me, a no-brainer to kind of just jump right in and have this assistant at all times.
And it's also nice to collaborate, right? To collaborate with your
Yeah.
other teachers in the building, just to kind of do that with some of this data. It's really, so nice to work with other people in the building, on the same mission. So it's so nice to work with you, Linda.
Yeah. It's also helpful to have Robyn, who's just like so gung-ho about everything. I feel like I don't think I dropped my bags on the first day, and she's like, "You want to collaborate?" So it's like you can't say no to Robyn.
Yeah,
So
of course. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with what you're saying, Linda. I mean, if I wasn't finding AI useful, if it wasn't doing a good job or a better job than I was doing before, I wouldn't be wasting my time with it. Quite honestly, no one has time to waste in education, right? That is our most valuable commodity, our time. And so I think that's the piece that hooked me with it too. I was like, wow, I can get so much more done. And aren't we always looking for help? Aren't we always saying, help me with this, help me with that? So, that was the compelling hook for me as well. So,
and the output is good, for the output, if the output wasn't good and it was, I wasn't seeing a difference in my teaching and my students, then I would hesitate to use it as well. But I'm seeing a difference that's beneficial for them.
Yep. Okay, so good stuff. So thank you so much for joining us on a Friday afternoon for our Friday debrief.
I'm honored that I got to be your first guest.
Yeah, first guest.
You're now officially part of the Learn, Teach, Lead, Repeat Club.
Yes.
Okay.
So now we'll have to repeat.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, everyone. Have a great
weekend.
Bye-bye.